Hi everybody, the Board Game Man is back again for another episode coming your way. Now in today's episode, this is a newer game that came out in 2018. It takes about 30 or so minutes to play, ages 10 and up, and there's an infinite number of players. Everybody plays simultaneously, which is a really good pro in this game. So there is no your turn, your turn, your turn. It is everybody playing at the same time, simultaneously, figuring out how they want to play the cards that were just... And I would say it's a flip and right. It's not really a roll and right because there's no dice in this game. All you do is, you'll see in my playthrough coming soon, is you flip over the cards and everyone chooses what number they want to use and what action they're going to do at the same time, which is great. What game is it? It's Welcome to Your Perfect Home. I absolutely love this game. I have yet to play it physically because I literally just got this a few days ago. I actually bought it from the actual company because they had a bulk deal where you bought this, and there's also 6 expansions with it that have come out, and I got all 6. Let me show you those real quick. In the expansions, you have Summertime, which you can see here, and you can see it has to do with ice cream. He has the ice cream in their hands, okay? Then another one we have is Springtime, and you can see they have Easter eggs. So you can see this is an Easter-based expansion. Then you have Halloween. Halloween, see the way the people are dressed up as Halloween? And this one has ghosts and candy corns in it, which is really cool. Then you have the Winter Wonderland for Christmas time. So you have this expansion. You also have Doomsday. You can see them in their masks and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. And then the last one is Outbreak. It's like a zombie outbreak. So you can see their their faces there. They look like these little zombies. So that's pretty cool. So those are the 6 expansions that are out now, at least at the time I'm doing this video. And if they get more, I will probably look into it. And also what they've come out with is, in the game, they come out with these paper. These are the actual play sheets that you just rip them off and everybody gets their own. And I believe it comes with 100 of these. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, these come with 50. It almost looks like it's half. So I'm assuming there is 50 sheets in here. Let me see. Does it say in here? Oh, yes, 50 sheets. So the expansions come with 50 sheets each, and the original come with 100. Now, say you don't want to do that. Well, guess what? They came out with dry erase player sheets, which is great. This came with the bundle I bought from them, too. So I got the original game, the 6 expansions, and the dry erase sheets here. There's 4 of them in here. And unfortunately, it does not come with the markers, so I'm going to have to get some markers, and that's totally fine. That's the least of my worries. But I just wanted to let you know that. So in case you want to go, man, 50, I'm going to blow through those. They actually have the expansions in the dry erase sheets as well, which I didn't know. So I came across those the other day. I'm like, oh, man, I need to get those. As soon as I play this game a few times physically, I'll probably end up going to get them. So they do come with the dry erase sheets 4. And I'm assuming the expansion might come with 4. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that up. Now, today I'm not going to go over the expansions. I'm just going to go over the base game so you really have a good understanding of how to play the game. And then my following episode after this, I will go over the 6 expansions and how you play each one of them because they play a little differently. Now, you do have to have the base game, excuse me, in order to play the expansions, obviously, because the cards you use in that are used in all versions. But there are some contracts that you'll see, which you'll know what I'm talking about in a few minutes, that are pertaining to those expansions, which is really cool. So I like that as well. So let me stop talking as my voice is going. Let's head on over to the Gamers Table right now. I'm going to show you very excitedly, because I really love this game, Welcome to Your Perfect Home, coming your way right now. All right, everybody, here we are at the gaming table for Welcome to Your Perfect Home. There's not too many components to the game. I'll go ahead and go over what's in it. You have the rule book, and it shows you really good details and good illustrations of how scoring works in the game. Okay. There's also a solo mode, which I won't go over in the tutorial, but you can always check it out because they do have a great solo mode as well. Then you have these player sheets. Every player is going to receive one of these. All you do is just tear it off, and each player will receive one of these, and I'll go over all this stuff in a moment. You also have 81 cards that have numbers on one side and the actions on the back. What you're going to do is you're going to distribute those in 3 different stacks evenly, so 27 in each row. You also have these contracts, which are a different way to score points in the game. There's many, many different ways to score points. So, but these are just one option that you can do in order to get points. And that, my friends, is pretty much all the components there are. Now, what I did in the intro is I told you I received some dry erase markers. So I'm going to go ahead and use those. That way I don't have to tear off any of these sheets. So I'm going to put this to the side over here. And I'm going to go ahead and use these. These are the dry erasers. We're going to do a 3-player, just so I can show you what each one of these actions does. Okay? And that's pretty much the setup. So what you're going to do is, it says, welcome to. You're going to go ahead and name your neighborhoods. You can name it anywhere you want, but in this way I just put 1, 2, and 3, just to kind of show you how it goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Alrighty then. So what you're going to do is you're going to distribute these 3 stacks evenly, 27 cards in each row. Okay, and then you have the contracts, which I'll go over right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and flip over each one of these cards in each row. So you're going to have a number showing and an action, a possible action. You technically do not have to do the action, but you kind of want to do because these actions actually score you points. So you just want to keep that in mind when you're playing. Now, we're going to go over the fencing first. The fence is going to be the first action I want to show you. Now you'll see at the end and the beginning of each one of these rows, there is a solid line. So these are automatic fences. You can see they're solid lines. Then you have these dotted lines. These are the lines that you're able to build fences on. And I'll show you why right now. So let's just say the first player here is going to go with, I want to use a 4 and a fence. So what you're going to do is these numbers here, you're going to place these on the homes. These are going to be the address numbers. Now, just like a real residential street, the numbers have to be in ascending order. So you have to go in this direction. So what you say you put a 4 here, the only homes you can put back here are 1, 2, and 3. Say if you put a, like a 10 here, then only 1 through 9 can be before it, and 11 through 15 can be over here. That's the numbers that are on the cards, 1 through 15, okay? So let's just say you use the 4. Right? Player 1 wants to build a fence. He wants to start an estate, and that's how you build the estates, by building fences, and once you fill up the fences with the address numbers, it becomes an estate of that size. So let's just say 4, he's going to go ahead and place 4 right here, and he wants to build a fence anywhere. You can build a fence anywhere you want. It does not have to be attached to the 4. Let's just say he wants to do this. He's going to go ahead and place a fence right here. What you do is, in order to build a fence, you're going to go ahead and draw a line over those dotted lines, just like so. Now that's when these contracts come into play. They're all about estates. Let me go ahead and show you what 3 we have chosen for this game. There's going to be a stack of N1s, N2s, and N3s. They're just 3 different contracts. You choose one of each to play in the game. In contract number 1, you have, as you can see here, 2 3-house estates, and, there's all 3. 3 3-house estates. If you're able to complete that, you will receive the 8, as I drop it on the floor. You will receive the 8 points if you complete 3 3-house estates. And once you do so, you will flip it over, and now no one can get those 8 points ever again. From here on out, any other players that complete 3 3-house estates will receive the 4 points. Now, one bit of information: if you are the first player to complete or fulfill a contract, it is up to you whether you would like to reshuffle these cards. You can do so if you are the first person to complete a contract. So obviously, reshuffling can be up to 3 times because there's 3 contracts. If you want to, you do not have to. Okay? In this contract, number 2, you can see we have a 5-house estate and 2 2-house estates. If you complete those, first person to do it gets 10 points, then you flip it over, and then every other player after that will receive 6 points for completing it. So it's kind of a little bit of a race to see, who can get this first to get the most points. Okay? And then you have the third one. This one's a little tougher. You have 1 1-house estate, a 2-house estate, and a 6-house estate. First person does that will get 12 points. And then they flip it over. You can see it says approved. And every other player after that will receive 7 points. Okay? So that's why he did this one, because he thought, okay, I'm going to start trying to get this hardest one to get the most points. But this does not become an estate until you fill in the number. Then it becomes an estate. Now let me show you what happens when you complete a contract. What you need to do is, let's just say that you had this estate here, which is one of the 3. Let's just say you had another estate of 3 here, because it can be anywhere on the board. It doesn't have to be any kind of order in here. It doesn't have to be, this one has to be on the first row, this has to be on the second row, and so on. It's whatever 3 and any streets, whatever you can do. Okay? Let's just say you finish this off and you got the third estate of 3 houses. Once that is complete, you can see you have 3, 3, and 3, you're good to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to get the 8 points. This is under N1. So you'll put 8 points right in there, because that's how many you scored for N1, okay? And what you're also going to do is you're going to draw the line on top. So this estate here is complete. This estate here is complete. And this estate is complete. So you can see you have now, these 3 are now completed and done. That's when you would flip this over, and then any other player can get the 4 points. But these will not count towards any other estates that you complete. Okay? So say that one of these had a 3 in it, you cannot duplicate that 3 with the same estate. You have to have a whole separate, let's say this was 5, 2, and 3, you would have to have a complete separate 3-house estate. You cannot duplicate these. Once these are completed as a contract, they're pretty much closed. You can no longer use them anymore. So that's only used for that one contract, and that is it. Okay? Once you fulfill that contract, 1, 2, and 3, you will place the score on the very bottom. This is where all of the scoring happens down below here. So you can see here you have N1, N2, N3. When you complete one of those contracts, you'll place that number points you got into that circle. Okay? And that's how that works. The next one on the list here is the parks. And let me go ahead and show you what the parks do. Let's just say the second player decides, I want to do the 5 park. So first what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and place a 5 anywhere in any of your streets. Let's just say he wants to place a 5 right here. So he's going to place a 5 right there. So in this row, if you want to, you can build a park, which obviously you want to because you get points for that. What you will do in the upper right-hand corner of that row that you place the number, you will see these little numbers over here. These represent the points for the parks. So you can see in this row, he put a 5 here, so you're going to go ahead and cross off the lowest number that's in that row. So for instance, in this case, he's going to go ahead and cross off the 0, and now he's going to get 2 points for that row. Now you're not going to put the points in here until the end of the game, because obviously you'll be building parks along the way, and so that's at the end of the game. So that is how the parks work, okay? So for each one, you're going to cross off. Now, if you see here, like on the bottom row here, if you build 5 parks in that row, look at how many points you get. 18. That is a big amount of points there. That's huge. Same with the second row. If you build 4 parks in that row, you get 14 points. And if you get 3 parks in the top row, you get 10 points. So that's something you want to keep in mind when building parks. You can get some pretty decent points if you can build enough parks. Okay? All right. Okay, so now let's go over to the swimming pools. You can see the swimming pool is next on the list of points. So now this player 3 is going to say, I want to build a pool. Now, you don't necessarily have to place the number on a pool. You can see, let me show you up close here, that some of the houses have pools in the back. So you can see there's one here, here, here. You do not necessarily have to use the number for the pool. You just won't get the points for the pool. But since 14 is towards the higher end of the street, this house right here would be perfect. Okay, all you have is 15. So what player 3 is going to do is he's going to go ahead and place a 14 right here. And since he's going to utilize this pool, you're going to circle the pool. That shows that you built that pool. And what you're going to go down below here is you're going to go ahead and cross off the lowest number. And just like that, you have 3 points for building that pool in that area, in this row. See 14, you circle the pool, and that's how you score points with the pools. Okay. After all players have chosen what they want to do, then you're going to go ahead and flip the cards. Now you do have a little hint what's coming up next, because you look at the very top corner, you will see it does show you what is on the bottom of that card. So in case you're trying to figure out, what do I want to do next, or what do I want to score, it does give you a little sneak peek of what's coming up next. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the next flip here. So we're going to go ahead and flip this. Okay. We're going to flip this. And we're going to flip this. But I want to flip this one over because I want to show you what that's all about. Okay. Now, like I said, everyone simultaneously is looking at what they want to do. Do they have a place 3, 6, or 14, wherever they want to put that. Now, this is called a temp agency, and this one is the 4th row that you see on the score sheet. What this does, this is actually, it can be a pretty powerful tool, okay? If you use the temp agency, you're kind of rewarded for adding a job. You're helping the economy of your neighborhood. You're hiring employees to come and build something, okay? What you can do with the number that's associated with that, you can use 2 numbers less than that number, or you can go 2 numbers higher than that number. So for instance, when you have 3, you can use either 1 or 2, you can use a 3, or you can go 4 or 5. So this temp agency is really, really cool. Now, even if you have the number 2, say you had a 2 with this, you can go 1 or 0, or you can go 3 or 4. So you can actually put a 0 in the front of your row if you had a 2 with a temp agency. Same with 15. Say you had a 15 and a temp agency, you could go up to 17, which would be very helpful if you kind of get stuck here. You can always use a 16 or 17 right at the end there, depending on that. So the temp agency will allow you to change the address number either 2 lower or 2 higher than the number is given. So that's pretty cool. So let's say that he says, player 1 over here wants to use it. So he wants to use it because he has 1, 2, and 3 he needs to use here. So he's going to put a 3 here. And as you can see, he can still put it in a house with the pool. Okay, you just don't get a point for the pool. Okay, you just put in 3 there. Now what you do, since you use the temp agency, you're going to go ahead and cross off one of these temp agencies here. So he crosses that one off. Now the reason why you want to do that is you can see on the very bottom, let me see if I get close enough, because man, these numbers are so tiny. I don't know if you can even see that. The player with the most temp agencies crossed off will receive 7 points. The second highest will receive 4, and the third highest will receive 1. So it helps you in a dual role. It helps you with numbers on your street, and you could possibly get points by having the most, second most, or third most, okay? So that's something you want to keep in mind too. That is the temp agency. Now the next scoring object is the real estate, okay? This is the real estate section here. It's a pretty big section. What you do here, if you use the number on the house, let's say you want to do that, so player 2 wants to use 6. So he's going to go ahead and use the 6. He's going to go ahead and place the 6 right here. Since it's right after the 5, it's perfect. Now what you get to choose, which one, if you want to, you can choose this. This actually represents the housing estates. So say you're going to be working on these 3s. Say this is what I'm going to start working on is these 3 estates. Okay. What you can do is you can choose for every 3 estates that you have, 3 house estates, you'll get this amount of points, okay? So let's just say, for instance, in this one, I want to choose 3 because I know I'm going to be using 3 estates, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cross off that 3, and now for every 3 house estate I get 4 points for it. These little X's will show how many of each that you have, okay? So say, for instance, as the game goes on, I have 3 house estates. Then I'll put times 3, and however many points I have here, that's what I'm going to multiply it by. So let's just say, for instance, for example, I have 3 house estates. I'll put times 3. 4 would be that, so I would get 12 points for 3 estates. Okay, that's how that works, okay? And that is the real estate. Biz. This is a very interesting one. This is one that you can use, okay, for duplicating an address number. So say you really need to finish off that estate. Say you had an estate going here. Say you had a wall here, a fence here, and a fence here. Okay. Actually, let's do it this way. Hold on a second. Let me erase this. Say you want to finish off. Say you had a 4 here. And then you really need to finish off this estate. See, you had that fence here. You're one away from completing one of these contracts, and you really want to get that finished. Okay. What you can do is say when you get the biz, you want to finish this off, but you have a 14 here. This is a great opportunity with the biz to place 2 homes down, believe it or not. So what you can do is first you're going to use the 14. So you want to use the 14 anywhere you want to use. Let's just say I'm going to use the 14 right here. Okay. And you can duplicate any one of the numbers in front. Okay. So say this is a 6. You can put, it's almost like when you have like a duplex or a triplex, it's a 6B, 6C, and something like that. That's what this does. So what you're going to do in this case, 6 bis. Okay. That allows you to use this. And now, if you wanted to complete that estate, you have completed it without having to use a 7. Okay. But for using these bis, that's what this section is here. It is in the red section. For each bis you use, you're going to minus points. Okay. But sometimes it's worth it because you can get a lot of points. Say you really need to complete that one section there. Now you got to complete, you get points, but you're also going to pay a little price for using those bis. So since he used this, he's going to cross off 0. Okay. And now, as of where it stands now, he'll get minus 1 point. Okay. At the end of the game, but it might offset. The offset might be worth it. You might be able to complete one of these contracts and say, for instance, you need 1 away from getting 12 points. It's worth it. Okay. And you're only minus 1 point. So for every bis you use, you're going to go ahead and cross off each one of these. At the end of the game, you'll be minus. You can see the little minus here. Okay. And that's what that's about. Also, on a side note, once you do a subdivision like this, okay, say you have 6 bis and 6, you cannot build a fence in between it. So you're not allowed to do this when you have a subdivision. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind too when you're doing those. You cannot separate them. These two cannot be separated if it is a subdivision. Now let's go over to the next row, which is right here. These are permit refusals. Okay. Say, your board's starting to get filled up and a number shows up where you can't use it. You can't use it on anything. Say you have, like 14 here and you have 14 here and a 14 comes up. You're like, uh-oh, I can't use any of these numbers. None of these numbers I can fit. So what happens is you get a permit refusal. You're allowed up to 3 of them. So what you're going to do is you'll cross off the top one. Just like so. That is your first permit refusal. If you get a second permit, so you can get away with 1 without losing any points. Once you get a second one, then you get minus 3, and then you get a third one, you get minus 5. Okay? And that is, you really don't want that to happen, but you can afford it to happen once. But it's not something you can handle. I mean, it's not something, once this board gets pretty full, it's bound to happen. Okay? So that's what this little row is here, is permit refusals. Okay? This little area here, as you can see, there's a little asterisk, and that is for the advanced version of the game, and this is what allows roundabouts. If you're playing with roundabouts, what you do is you would put a circle with a dot in the middle of it. So say you want to put one right in the middle here. You're going to put a circle here and a dot. Okay, that is a roundabout. You would cross this off, so it would cost you some points, and you get minus 3, but it allows you to reset your address numbers. So say your numbers were like 3, 6, 8, 9, 10. You can restart the numbers here if you wanted to. 1, 3, 6, and so on. So that's what the roundabout does, is actually lets you kind of reset the street. So you actually have 2 different streets on here, rows of houses. So it actually lets you redo it. So that is something That is in the advanced version, but I want to show that to you because it is on here. But that's what that asterisk is for, is that, okay? Now, at the end of the game, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and add up all these points. On the bottom here, you're going to go ahead and add up all the contract points, parks, pools, who had the first, second, and third amount of temp agencies, the real estates. You're going to subtract all the biz, and you're going to subtract all the building or the permit refusals. Now, there's 3 different ways the game ends. Number 1, somebody fills up every single home. Once someone fills up every single home, the game ends. The second way is if you get 3 permit refusals. The first person to get the 3 permit refusals, that will also end the game. Okay? The third way to end the game is if someone completes all 3 contracts. Now, I'm saying one player completes all 3 contracts, not just, oh, player 1 did this one, and player 2 did that one, and player 3 did that one. No. If player 1 completes all 3 of these contracts, then that triggers the end of the game as well. Doesn't necessarily mean you win the game, because I should say it triggers the end of the game. All houses are complete, someone receives 3 permit refusals, or one player completes all 3 contracts, triggers the end of the game, and at that point, you're going to add all the points, each player, and of course, subtracting the 2 points, the 2 areas here, and whoever has the most points wins the game. If there is a tie, then it comes down to counting how many estates you have total. If there is still a tie after that, then you'll say, okay, who has the most 1-house estates? Who has the most 2-house estates? And that's how you do it. So what's cool about this game is there is a winner in this game. There is no sharing the victory in this game. Okay, because, I doubt everyone's going to be tied through all 6 estates. And that is how you play Welcome to Your Favorite Home. So that is how to play. Now, this is just a great, fantastic game. I hope I explained it well. I really hope I did. I hope I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. But if I did, please put it on the comments down below, because I love to have everyone on the same page. I definitely want to make sure everyone knows how to play this game. But it is a wonderful, fascinating game. You can play this thing a billion times. It'll be never the same, that's a great thing as well. So that, my friends, is how you play Welcome to Your Favorite Home. As I said in the intro, the next episode will show you the 6 expansions to the game on how each one of those score. You will still use the base game. You still use the cards. You still use these. These do not change in the expansions. And there are some special expansion contracts that you can use as well if you want to. All right, well, there is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click on that like button. And if you're not a subscriber, hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified of any future episodes. Once again, thank you so much for watching. And there you have Welcome to Your Favorite Home.